68 degrees.
Got a heat wave. We're at 16.
Man, I mean, my tower garden's sitting outside. I did put a blanket. It got down to 31 last night, so I did put a blanket. I put a sheet and then a blanket and then some like plastic Visqueen over it. And I had a salad, so it's all good to go. I brought my seedlings in, though. I didn't want my babies to get messed up. All right, we're going to go with a gallery view.
Saturday, we have a low of 6.
Yeah, that's one of the questions. I guess I could put it in the chat, but I'm going to just throw it out there as you go through your section, Dominic, if you could remember. If not, I'll remind you. But I was thinking about my garage, but my garage isn't heated or anything. And it gets pretty dang cold in the garage too. So I don't know if you have some sort of a different type of garage or if you're temperature controlling it or you have heaters.
Temperature control.
There you go. Everything's doable. All right, it's 7:03. We're recording. Welcome, everybody. All right, let's get started. I'll just pause for the video. We can edit this later. All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Doug Farrar, and tonight I'll be the host of our awesome Tower Garden event. And I would like to thank you. All of us hosts would like to thank you for taking time away from your family and your busy schedules to spend that time with us tonight. We're part of an awesome community, the Juice Plus community. Our mission is to inspire healthy living around the world. And we've never been busier because most people have been really focused on their health in these last couple of years. There's so much going on. It's crazy. But tonight, while we usually focus on several aspects of health and nutrition and whatnot, tonight we're going to share with you one of the ways that us guys are really excited to help people get healthier, and that's through our Tower Gardens. Like I said, my name's Doug Farrar. I do live in Jacksonville, Florida, where it's 68 degrees, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. I used to live in sunny South Florida. It's probably about 75 degrees down there today right now. But I have a background in school administration and as a business coach, and I like to consider myself an amateur urban farmer. We also have with us tonight Steve. He lives in New Jersey. He's a healthcare fundraiser, a certified trainer. He's a plant-based endurance athlete. And as you can see in his background, he has some awesome indoor tower gardens, and they're just thriving. He's going to share with you. We also have Dominic with us tonight. Dominic lives in Missouri, where it's super cold. He drives trucks, and he has an amazing indoor commercial tower garden farm. And you're going to get to hear a little bit more about what we do and how we do it in just a few minutes. But just to start off, I want to share with you guys, like the fact is, like right now, you're probably here because you're interested in gardening and growing things. And right now, we have food scarcity, there's questionable quality. And of course, there's and when you're getting produce, the more plants you can get into you, this is kind of like our mission summarized in one sentence: eat more plants, okay? So if you're buying more plants, then you're probably gonna eat more plants. If you're growing your own at home, you're eating more plants for cheaper, okay? So more and more people are deciding to do that, and we're gonna show you how you can do that. Let me share with you my screen real quick. All right. Whoops. There we go. All right, so this is my lovely wife, Sharon, and these are our tower gardens right here in Jacksonville. I moved here in Jacksonville about 6 months ago in July, and I quickly set up my two of my 4 tower gardens and got them going. And you can see on the left side, I have lettuce. I love growing lettuce and leafy greens primarily. On the right, it looks like I might have some basil up on the top, but even more lettuce. And around the right side, you see a little bit of tarragon. I use that for my salad dressings. So what I like to do is grow things that I know that I'm going to eat a lot of, and stuff that I know my neighbors are going to love it if I give them some, stuff that is just really good for my family and really fresh and delicious. So I focus on the leafy greens, and I love doing that. I do love growing kale too. Here's at my old house. I actually got a nickname of king kale. That is one of my kale plants. So that kind of highlights something that I love about the tower garden. And that is when you grow, imagine if you bought kale in the store, you might spend $3-4 for it or something, right? For a good organic kale. That's dinosaur kale, what you see me holding there. Well, that is a kale plant. And you notice where I'm holding it, there's like a stalk coming down. That stalk had leaves on it. So when you eat off the tower garden, you don't just have to grow a head of lettuce and pull it out and have dinner and now your lettuce is gone. What we actually do is we can pick the leaves off the back of that plant and it just keeps going. And on lettuce, for instance, I'm still eating the lettuce from July. They're almost done. They start to get really long and eventually they get a little bit bitter, but they've been going since July. That kale plant right there was over a year old and it gave me many, many, many meals. As I said before, my background's in education, and I don't know if we have any teachers, administrators. We probably have parents of school-age children, or maybe you even know some educators in your life. But this is something that schools, they don't always know this exists. Many schools have a garden club and things like that. But this is like a futuristic way of growing. This is something that uses less water. It has a smaller footprint, so it's environmentally friendly. It grows food faster. It grows it with more nutrition. It's just a win-win-win. So my wife and I, this is just one example. We've put towers into many schools and boys and girls clubs and things like that. Then we had an opportunity to go down in Miami, and somebody bought a memorial garden for the school of somebody who was like a school principal or something there. This is the Lubavitch Education Center in Miami. It's a Jewish school. It's all girls. Well, this grade level is all girls, of 8th graders. And these girls are the ones that are going to take care of this tower farm. There's actually 9 towers in this farm. And so this is the day we were down there setting them up with their seedlings. And one thing about education, as an educator, anything we can do to engage kids into the learning process is a win. We want to get kids to school. We want them to be paying attention and having fun in school while they learn. And that's exactly what happens when you bring a tower garden into the school. So while they're having a good time growing, they're also collecting data. What was the date that they planted these seeds? What were the nutrients they used? How many hours of sun does it get? You see them in the upper right-hand corner, checking the pH of the nutrients, and you can also see on the left side, girls will be girls, kids will be kids. They have a good time doing it. What these girls ended up doing is they named each of the towers, like Fred and Barney and stuff like that. And it was so much fun. I taught middle school for years, and God bless the middle school teachers, because it's a hard age. But when you give them something where they're having a good time, it is just super fun. This is a guy named Stephen Ritz, and he runs a program in the Bronx, New York. It's called the Green Bronx Machine. And what they're doing in New York is they're growing food through this school program that he does. He's done so much with it. He's become quite famous around the world. He actually just was nominated for an Emmy, or he won an Emmy, one of those two, for a documentary film about what he's doing there. He's an amazing guy. He wears cheese hats and weird things like that. But the kids grow and they learn how to cook. Oh, I wish I had that other picture. There's one where they're in the kitchen and they're preparing the food. So when kids grow, they learn science, they learn horticulture, they learn data tracking and analysis. But then think about it. Once they harvest, what they're doing in the Bronx is they're sending kids home with nutrition for the families it's a very impoverished area. So they're learning how to eat well too. So it's just an amazing thing to have them in schools. And there's curriculum resources. So if you do know a teacher, or you are a teacher and you want to learn more about this and connect us with somebody who's a teacher, do that with the person that invited you here. Because not only are there the tower gardens that schools can purchase and have for their schools, but there's also a curriculum that goes along with it. Not only from the Green Bronx Machine, but also I think from the University of Mississippi, they develop a curriculum as well. And that goes literally from kindergarten through 12th grade using the national standards in education. All right, so what I want to do now is let you know a little bit about what the Tower Garden is, because we're talking about it in education, and the guys are going to show you theirs in a minute. But let's talk about what the Tower Garden is. This first video shows us a time lapse of what happens in 4 weeks. There's 1 week. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. Isn't that amazing? And here's how it works.
Tower Garden's state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better-tasting, and incredibly nutritious fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your Tower Garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil, so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden the healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce.
All right. And guys, it really is significantly easier. And you just get in this little cycle. Here's one of my new babies coming up. I've started I start extra because I have events in my community where I give away plants. I want to be like Stephen Ritz someday. So, and this is about 4 weeks old, and this will go into the Tower Garden real soon. And I'll retire some of the other plants that are ready to kind of complete their journey. So it's really an amazing thing. But let's hop over to Steve and find out a little bit more about what Steve loves about the Tower Garden and how he uses it and what his journey's been. Steve?
All right, thanks, Doug. Yeah, so my Tower Gardens are actually, they're all home gardens. We started building with the Tower Gardens when we were living in an apartment, actually here in New Jersey. And I can actually share some of the information about why we love our Tower Garden so much. Let me just share my screen with you. Okay. Why is it not doing that? But yeah, so our Tower Gardens, the reason we started growing these is really because just the versatility and the ease to grow at home. So what you can see here are just some of the ways that they're easy and super convenient. We love them because they use, 98% less water than your typical plant garden. They use 90% less space. We have a small outdoor garden, and we get at least, 10 to 15 times more the growth out of just these two, and then I have a third Tower Garden in the next room, out of just the average crop than we do growing outside. So it's just such a larger yield, and these grow so much faster than just the traditional garden we have outside. We plant all kinds of lettuces outside, peppers. We plant garlic in the winter. And the amount of time that takes to plant the seed, to have the seed grow, to make sure the soil is right, and all of that, if we plant in, early spring, we hope that by, summer, we can have, fresh fruits and veggies from that garden. These gardens will plant seeds in a matter of, from weeks, we'll be able to be eating the fruits and vegetables off of these plants we have here. So where can you grow? These are just some of the places that they've shown growing, out in, the public. You can put on your patio. The San Francisco Giants had them in their ballpark. They're in Chicago O'Hare Airport. Epcot has them on display, and many of their restaurants use the fruits and vegetables from there. You can grow them in your office. The Yankees are putting them out in center field since they don't have any championships recently. They need to put something out there instead of a new plaque, so they're putting the Tower Gardens. And then this is where we've grown. And we have literally grown everywhere. The first picture you see there is in our townhouse apartment. We grew on just the parking pad right in front of our apartment. And the cool thing about that tower garden is that we were brand new to tower garden. It's our first tower garden. And we went on our honeymoon and we were gone for 2 weeks from the end of October into the beginning of November. And during that time, it dropped down to have our first freeze. And we came back and we thought that, the tower gardens would be dead. There wouldn't be anything there. We would just come back to dead plants and have to pull that all out. When we came back, even though there was still like a covering of snow and ice, the tower garden was still growing. The plants were just that strong. So then after it got too cold, we moved them into the garage, which is the next picture you have there. And those are the indoor grow lights. And those are also lights you see behind me right here. And we grow everything under these lights, from tomatoes to cucumbers. Right now we have some eggplant growing on there, a ton of different types of lettuce, a variety of chard, a variety of peppers. And then you saw we moved into our office. You can have it outdoors, which these go outdoors with them. And then the third picture or fifth picture there is probably one of my favorites. That's our front yard during Christmas. And you can see the little Christmas tree lights. But if you look on the bottom row of the house, those are all the tower gardens that you see from our street. So they're also really great conversation pieces. When people walk by, they all ask, what are you growing? Why are you growing? How are you growing? They're tremendous. So what I really love about the tower gardens is the fact that, for example, yesterday we came home for, being out, we came home and there was just nothing in the house as far as food goes. And we haven't been cooking, so we've kind of been slacking on that point. And Jesse and I came to the tower and we pulled off an entire salad, just from, one of our towers behind us. It's cut our food costs down significantly. I'll talk a little bit about that later. But it's just been a tremendous add-on in that way. And they're so super easy. So Jesse's pregnant and she's the one who says she has a black thumb and kills everything. I have no thumb. I mean, I kill plastic plants. So really these tower gardens have become my responsibilities over a matter of weeks, and they're still alive and it's super easy. You fill the towers when you start to hear that motor running, just because they start to run out of water, fill them up, add the tonic solution, they're good to grow. It's also super easy for us to change what we grow. So we order seedlings from one of the tower garden approved vendors, which we can share those later on if anybody's interested. But we can grow, if we get tired of growing kale, we'll just pull the kale plant out, order new seedlings, and then in a couple of weeks, we'll have a different type of lettuce. Or we'll have, one of the things we found here is the fact that we can't find strawberries in the winter, and we have a smoothie every morning. So we actually have a whole tower now in the other room that's just strawberry plants. And soon we're gonna be able to just pull strawberries off all year round. And if we could get a blueberry plant growing, we may never have to get fruit for our smoothies again. It's all super organic. It's all super nutritionally dense. I know that the quality I'm getting here is so much better than what I'm finding in even, the farmers markets or in the grocery stores. And I know where all these veggies come from. So if you're ever in the grocery store and you see a recall on lettuces because of E. coli or anything like that, we never have to worry about those issues. So these towers, pretty much as we end up, paying one off, because they're all super affordable, you can pay over the course of a year, we just keep adding more and more. And eventually, Jesse and I are looking to have, 5, 6, 7 tower gardens to really try to, provide most of our food here at home.
So Steve, how long have you, how old is your oldest tower garden?
Our oldest tower garden, I think right now is 3 years. 2
Cool.
years. 2 years.
Well, what's really cool? Even at 2 years old, it's already paying for itself. But do you know my tower gardens are 11 years old? So for all these years, we've paid it off in the first year, obviously, and then boom, we've been growing food. It's like a money tree or something out there. And mine have been outside in the Florida sun for 11 years, and they're still good to go. So it's an amazingly durable product too, with WUV protection, food grade plastic. It's super.
Yeah, these are great. We take them apart, probably 2 times, maybe 3 times a year to clean them. But we don't really do any maintenance on them, you know, while they're up, and they come perfectly clean with just some water and citric acid. You let them soak, you scrub them down, spray them off, and you set them back up and they're good to go.
Yeah, I would recommend keep on doing that. That's a great program to just keep them nice and clean. Because I know for years I kind of let mine get a little yellowy and then it's a little harder to clean them. But the maintenance is so low on them. It's incredible. Thanks, Steve. Well, let's head over to Dominic. It's going to be super exciting. I want to hear a little bit more about Dominic's story because this guy is doing some really cool stuff. Let's tune in with Dominic. Go ahead, Dom.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Can you hear me? Okay.
We got you.
Good. I had to switch over to my phone. I have bad internet connection. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what got me started into growing commercial. I was at a conference with a Juice Plus, and I learned that we're losing 3,000 acres of productive farmland to development in the U.S. every day. And when I read that, it was like, no, that's got to be in the world. I misread that or something. So I did my research. I looked it up, and sure enough, it is. So it was like, we really just need to get smarter on how we grow. And I knew the Tower Garden fit. So it was just like, okay, I need to get going. Some food facts. Broccoli loses 50 to 80% of key nutrients before it's purchased. A carrot 40 years ago, and today's carrot, you have to eat to equal that same section or same type of carrot, you would have to eat 40 different carrots today. So our food is decreasing in its nutrients. So there was another reason why the Tower Garden just made sense for what we're doing. So a Tower Garden farm, although it's a little bigger, a little more work than a residential Tower Garden, it's still the same Tower Garden. There's a lot of different equipment out there to make that job a little easier. Like for one of them is a dosatron. What a dosatron is it mixes the nutrients for you. So you don't have to sit there and measure how many gallons am I putting in. You just fill the tower up and it's done. Huge time saver. And another question I get is, how much time do I spend on my tower farm? We have 30 towers going right now. And I would say we spend 20 to 30 hours a week on our farm, probably a half hour a day. And then the most majority of it is on the weekends when we're harvesting and cleaning. And we take a lot of pride on how we make our towers look. You know, we spend most of our time cleaning our towers and making them basically showcase ready for anybody to come in and to take a look at them and make sure that, you know, they look new. Another thing is that I grow indoors. I went into a building versus a greenhouse. With that, I looked at a greenhouse. I was pretty much set on building a greenhouse, but then it got to the point when I looked at the heating cost of it and cooling it. It was like, if I'm trying to grow lettuce in the middle of summer, it was going to be very difficult to have a good quality of lettuce to serve to my customers. So it got us thinking about it. So then we had a garage, so why not just try it? So we brought our towers in our garage and things took off really well. And we decided to go ahead and continue to grow indoors. And we went ahead and got, it's climate controlled. We have an air conditioner and furnace or heater built in, all in one. So if you hear it kicking on and off, that's right now we're at 16 degrees here. So it's working. So that's, I'm trying to think here, that's what we're doing here. And that was one of the reasons why a building made sense to me. And it all depends on what climate you're in, if a greenhouse or a building would to make sense for you guys. So things to think about. on that would be, what do you want to grow? What is your community going to support? So like I said, we grow lettuce, and that's all we've been doing, and it's been doing really well for us, and our community is loving it. Another thing to think about is sunlight. Do you want to use the natural sun, or do you want to use a supplement? We're using the supplement lighting right now. That's an added cost, but we see in our environment where we're at, our climate, it made sense for us. So now I want to talk a little bit about the Tower Garden farm, commercial side of it, is that you can go higher. So the standard home is 7 pots high, is the highest you can go with the indoor lighting. So you have one tower that's 28 pots high. And if you have a tower farm of 12, you're going to have a grow cycle of 4 weeks. So you're going to have 3 towers that you're going to harvest every week. So those 28 plants times 3 is 84 plants. And on average, we're averaging 3 ounces per plant. So 84 plants times 3, that gives you 252 ounces of produce. And then you just times that by what is your local community going to support. We're here, I went to my local grocery store, I looked at an organic lettuce, and they were asking, it was 4 ounces, and they were asking $3.99 for it. So it was $1 an ounce. So that's what we're setting our lettuce at, trying to get that. And so there again, it's just, what is I know if I go to a major city, I would get more for it. But at this point, that can't fit that in my schedule to run down to a large city to get rid of my produce. It's totally not out of my business to go ahead and go do. But I'm definitely at this point not going to go down that avenue. So with the commercial towers, they go 11 pots high. So you're growing 44 plants per tower. So we're talking about the 12 towers. You get 44 plants times 3. That's 132 plants a week. And then on average, 3 ounces a plant. So 132 times 3 is 396 ounces. So 396 times whatever dollar amount your community is going to support, that is going to be your weekly income. So I can say with 12 towers, you're probably going to be looking at, anywhere from $300 to $500 a week off your towers. So a farm really does make sense. If you really want to just step it up a little bit, and you really don't have to go, that 50 to 100 towers right off the bat, start off small to see what you can handle and what your community is going to support you at. So when take those two numbers, we started off with 396 with 11 pots high, and then we had 252 with the 7 pots high. That's 144 plants difference. And by just going with those 2 extra pots high, you're not gaining any more square feet in your grow space. So it's so much cheaper to go higher than it is more towers. And also, just like the Tower Gardens, there is a Tower Garden farm support team to help you along the way. So just know that you won't be alone, and there's plenty of people out there willing to help you.
That is awesome. And somebody's they're in Missouri. So what happens in Missouri? Wait, are you in Missouri, Dominic? You are. Okay, so do most people grow indoors? I mean, or I guess you have to wait for the right season. So if it's an outdoor grow, does that change the ability to grow certain things for you guys there?
Yeah, we have all 4 seasons. So like I said, right now it's 16 degrees here. So growing in a greenhouse at this time was what really made me go to a building because I looked at the temperature and trying to heat a greenhouse with propane was just outrageous, you know, and I figure my building I can insulate just like a house, and figured I could control that cost a little easier. And then with the lights that I have, you know, that you're really putting heat back into it. So you're not really needing any heat during the winter time. It's just really just during the summertime is, you know, those 3 to 4 months of trying to cool it.
And I realized once the words came out of my mouth, I realized it was kind of a silly question, but some people it might be good for them. But the reality of it is this, like we all live in different zones. I saw some people from San Diego. I'm in Florida. So like over the years, I've really learned what works for me. And we have this network of people. So if you don't have a tower garden and you're kind of nervous about getting one, you're probably not gonna order what Dominic has. But if you did, there's still are people that sell the commercial installations that are going to coach you and train you, and there's documentation, and you can learn that. Most of us just get a tower garden or one to three tower gardens, and you start learning. And over time, you learn what you like to grow, but you also learn what grows well. For instance, I'm in a hot zone here in Florida, so I know that I can grow like Coastal Star romaine lettuce really well. Cherokee red, I like pelleted seeds. So you learn all these different things, but even when you just go to some of the seed stores, like I love ordering from Johnny Seeds. Seeds Now is good, but you can search for like heat tolerant lettuce at Johnny Seeds, and it'll show you all the lettuces that are tolerant of heat. So you can grow different things, and like strawberries are kind of particular about being cold. So Steve's doing well growing them in a nice cold environment, but inside the house. So you learn that stuff as you go. Anybody else have any other questions or anything that you would like to pick our brains about?
Dominic, there was a question here, and I know your wife answered it in the chat, but what lettuces do you grow?
We grow a spring mix, iceberg, a red romaine, and a butterhead.
And you
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you probably determined those grow really well. You've had success with them, and it's what your customers want. So you just you keep kind of a tight amount of things you grow. You don't grow like 15 different things, because then you wouldn't have enough of it. You know,
yeah, I'm sure we do have some people asking for different things, but you know, some kale and different things like that. But that's another thing of why we're doing it the way we're doing. We pull the entire plant instead of breaking off the leaves and bagging it up. We sell the whole plant to our customers.
Yeah. So, and we wanted to include some of the story of Dominic's commercial farm, because some people will find it really interesting, and then other people, it might just get them excited about growing, and you can see how your towers can scale. So don't let that intimidate you, though. There's plenty of people that have a single tower garden that just grows in a nook in their house or on their back patio, and you know, you can kind of set it and you can almost forget it a little bit. We don't all grow at the professional level that Dominic's growing. As you heard from Steve, I do the same exact thing as Steve. I let my tower garden run till the water runs out. Sometimes my wife will even say, hey, the plants are dying. And that's when I know it's time to refill it. And they just spring back to life once you put the water and the nutrients in. So it's all good. Well, we're going to kind of land the plane. Oh, how many seeds per net pot? Well, that's a good question. Dominic, how many do you plant for a red lettuce like this?
Is that just, what is that one?
There's a red Cherokee, like a Cherokee lettuce.
Okay. If you look on the back of the packet, it normally tells you what the spacing is, but I normally go with 2 to 3. And there again, we overseeded when we first started, and then we had a whole bunch of leaf fungus. And that was trying to figure that all out. So like I said, that was a lot of learning experience that we had. And I'm so glad that we did it with 12 towers versus 50 towers. You know, so
I have two growing in, there's actually 2 heads of lettuce growing in this one pot. I don't really intend for that to happen, but I think I plant 2 to 3 seeds. Sometimes I'll thin them out. What I find, and I don't know, Dominic, do you actually grow 2 per net pot right now, and then you're able to sell 2, or do you just focus on 1?
I put the multiple seeds in there. We don't thin them out.
Okay.
And then we just, like I said, you just a head of lettuce, you know, two heads for $5, and 5 heads for 10.
Okay. And now I will say this, and when you're growing commercially, the size of the lettuce that he'll grow it to before he sells it is a little bit smaller. Like if I showed you my lettuce right now in my tower, it's starting to like grow up and long, and it's not a pretty sight, but it's producing lettuce. So it gets to a point where it almost starts choking each other out. So again, it's something, if you're an experienced tower garden, Anna, then I think 2 is reasonable to get 2 growing per pot. And then you can always, if you don't like the way it looks, or if it looks like they're crowding each other, just take 1 out. It's like, one thing about growing in the tower gardens is try to make it less stressful. Don't worry so much. The things that really make the big difference are your nutrients, your light, and your pH. You know, and if you get those numbers kind of right, it's going to really flourish. Well, let's land the plane. Let's bring Steve on. Steve.
I'm here. I'm on.
Where's my meeting controls? There we are. We're going to share the screen here, and you can talk about how they can get a tower garden.
Yeah. So first of all, if you're interested in getting a tower garden, please reach out to the person that invited you to this event. They can all help you get these tower gardens. As you see, there are 2 options that you can get. On the left side, I guess maybe you're right, is the Flex. So the Flex has a little bigger water basin. It has the same pump system. It does not come with the lights. And it is a little bit taller than the Home. So you get a couple more pots in there. And that's the one that you could use for both indoor and outdoor gardening. The negative side about the Flex is that you have to buy the additional wheels if you were to want to wheel around the house. It's not a big purchase, but if you are going to get something that you want to go indoors, outdoors with, the Flex is definitely the way to do it, and definitely get those wheels because it is impossible to move without the wheels. So that's $620 for one time, or you pay it over the course of the year. It's $52 a month. And it comes, as I mentioned, with the pump, the hose, the tonic solution, pretty much everything but water. It even comes with some seeds. It comes with the rock wool. It comes with the tray to grow them in. It's just pretty much just as soon as you can get it, you can plant the seedlings. And by the time everything's set up, you'll be eating off that tower garden in like 4 weeks. The other options to Home, we have that one in the other room. The ones you have behind me are the Flex size. So clearly they fit indoors easily. The Home has the wheels installed on the bottom. It's a little smaller basin. It's like maybe 5 gallons left. It's nothing major. It comes with the lights, which is phenomenal. It's a little more expensive because it comes with the lights. So really the difference in the cost that you see there is the lights. And that's the one that we have in the other room. Super easy to keep indoors. You could also take it outdoors, but it just, it requires a little more filling if it's outdoors. And that's $970 for the one-time pay, or it's $81 a month. But both are super affordable. Lots of options to grow phenomenal things. And really, it's about the space you have. So if you're a little tighter, I'd go with the Home. If you're a little more space, definitely go with the Flex.
Yeah. And we can talk. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. It's like sometimes initially, when we don't really think it through, we can say, oh my gosh, $600 for this thing. That seems like a lot of money.
Yep.
Good. I'm glad you have that slide.
It's almost like we thought that. So that's exactly what I said, was when Jesse showed this to me, I'm like, Jesus, I'm going to spend $1,000 on this like tower garden thing. Like, what are we going to get out of it? But for us, I mean, we've grown heirloom tomatoes that if you go into the store, it's like $4 or $5 a pound for heirloom tomatoes. And that's like 2 tomatoes. So you look at $10 for 2 tomatoes. And you can make no tomato sauce with just 2 tomatoes. So Jesse, my wife, now we're on like the third generation of seeds. We bought seeds once. Every year we'll take seeds out of a tomato or two tomatoes, dry them, use them for the next year. So really the initial investment on those tomatoes was like 2 heirloom tomatoes that we took the seeds out of. And we've made so much sauce. I have frozen sauce from this last year's growth. I think we figured that we grew over like $600 or $700 worth of tomatoes just last year alone. But this slide, it shows, you know, kind of, it's an older slide. I think this is like 3 or 4 years ago, but the cost of what, you know, the produce that you grow in the store. So the first one there is like kale, and it's like 82 cents per ounce or something like that. And in a 6-month yield, you'll get 48 of those units. And so you'll be, you know, making, you know, almost $40 off of kale in just 6 months. And so if you go down that entire list, and this depends on what you grow, but realistically, if you're paying this over a year, you're going to have more back in yield and in cost savings from your grocery bill than what it costs, you know, just for the tower garden. So this was, you know, for me, that was a tremendous selling point. And I use that to justify every time I, you know, get a new tower garden. I'm like, sure, we'll add another tower garden, but we're saving, you know, twice that in grocery bill.
I'm really glad you had that. I was looking for that slide and I didn't have it. And that slide is one of the reasons why I grow so much lettuce. You know, if you look at like cucumbers on that chart, I know some people that love growing their cucumbers and their eggplants, and that's all good because you should do what you love. But lettuce is the thing I spend a lot of money on because we eat a lot of salads, you know. So I just love it that I don't have to buy lettuce. I walk by the lettuce in the grocery store and I'll buy a cucumber because they're really cheap, but the lettuce, no way. And I got tired of throwing a lettuce away that I didn't finish from the store. Or it's all like, just, you know, the quality. Like, I mean, I think Dominic grows, don't you grow some iceberg lettuce? Was that you I was talking to? Yeah. And the iceberg from the tower garden is actually green. It's not just white with no nutrients. It's like a good lettuce. So it's great. Well, listen, we've been on for 45 minutes. We could talk about this all day long. And, but we're going to do another Zoom. Oh, Dominic's giving us a Zoom. We're going to see some iceberg, I think. Is that iceberg?
That's iceberg.
It looks so different. It's amazing. Amazing.
Wow.
Man, that's just amazing. You got a cool operation. All right. All right. Well, guys.
You do that again, and I just want to zoom in on that one.
Yeah.
On the iceberg?
Yeah. I'm just going to change my view so I can just see that only. Okay. Thank you.
And that's something. That is amazing. All right. Well, we are so thankful that you guys joined us tonight. We love sharing this stuff. Shout out to Patrick Romanowski, who's on here tonight, my buddy from Palm Beach Gardens. You know, thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for joining us, Patrick. We hope you guys learned from this. We hope you're inspired, most of all, to live a healthier life, because that's our mission. You can do that in a lot of different ways. Eat more plants, because they're going to make you healthier. And we invite you to grow more plants with us. So if you want to get involved with Tower Garden, then just reach out to that person that invited you. They can get you all set up, get you started. The Tower Garden kit's going to come with everything you need, and you'll be a farmer real soon. So thanks again. We look forward. Keep your ears out because we'll be doing this again, and we'll start bringing you some different topics and some interesting things. So again, thanks for joining us, and everybody, you have a great evening. Good night.
Thanks, guys.